halftime? What kind of settled in for them, and just what did you think of the way you guys were able to answer there?
Well, I could say that I was in there screaming and yelling, but that's not who I am. So um, we just talked about are we going to participate in on the defensive end. We gave up 67 points. We were just in a game that we scored, 80 something points. So we talked about it, and those guys came out and answered the questions that we talked about. It was about the effort, and those guys in that third quarter on the defensive end took a stand, and that's how we've been known to play defense. We gave up 45 points in the second half, and not 67. And so, you can say the back-to-back getting in late, but we knew that Cleveland's a good team, and our discussion at halftime was good, and those guys said they can do the things that they went out there and did in the second half.
Luka obviously put on another show. Did he talk at all about how he realizes there's a lot of Slovenian fans here, or did you recognize that there was those ties going on?
Yeah, we talked about that on the plane, and so just understanding. He missed one, I think, at home, but he knew that this was happening tonight, and he wanted to put on a good show, and not just a show, but he came to work, and that's what he does. He comes to work, and we get to see it on a daily basis, and he came up one rebound short of a triple-double, but just the passes, they accept the double team, and he knew when to get off the ball and then when to attack, and so he's playing at a very high level right now for us, and we need that.
Right now, how much do you guys recognize or even talk about the fact that if Minnesota loses tonight, you guys get a top 6 seed? Is that how top of mind?
Yeah, we haven't talked about any of that. I was talking to the staff today about the timing of that because I don't want to add something that we don't know, right? And so I'm not worrying about Minnesota losing or Denver losing or Golden State losing. We're just trying to take care of what's in front of us right now, and that was Cleveland. And then going into Washington, we can talk. We'll be off tomorrow, and I'll talk more with the staff about the timing of starting to talk about home court, and that might be something that we can control. Is home court, not our opponent, but can we fight for home court? And that might be that's probably where we'll start and end here in the next couple of days because we can't start watching the scoreboard and seeing who's winning or who's losing.
Jason, what made Dorian so effective tonight against this Cleveland team?
Well, I think he's been playing at a high level for us. I know defensively we talk about him a lot, but offensively, him and Reggie being able to shoot the ball, and I thought tonight he just didn't shoot it from the corners, but was able to put the ball on the floor and get to the basket, and that's something that we've talked about, expanding his game, not just being a 3-and-D, but also being able to play make and put the ball on the floor, and I thought he did a great job of that tonight for us.
Okay, we got a couple on Zoom. Eddie Sefko.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Eddie.
Glad to know you weren't screaming too much there at halftime.
I don't scream.
You guys, you had a couple of down games last week, but the shooting seems to have come around really well in the last 3 or 4 games. Timing on that obviously seems like it's pretty good. Do you like the way you guys are still taking the shots that are there and but not forcing them when they're not?
Yeah, I really think our shot profile, win or lose, is the same. There's going to be high stake. We call it high stake when the opponent will let us shoot the threes, and if we don't make them, that's a high reward. But if we are making them, it puts them at risk of being blown out. And so that's what we've seen. Is the temperature of where we are shooting the ball, and we saw that in Minnesota when no one can throw it in the ocean, and we lost. But when we are making shots, when they are taking the ball out of Luka's hands, and other guys are making plays, I think that's when we're at our best, and that's when we're dangerous. Is because Luka, will have 2 on the ball. He's done his job for the night, and it's up to the other guys, and he trusts those guys are going to make plays.
Okay, one more, Christos.
Hello, Coach. Congratulations on the win, first of all. The way that your team reacted through the adversities of the game, what does it show about the growth and the stability that you have as a team this season?
Yeah, I think it's just being able to communicate and listen is big during timeouts, but I think just at halftime, There's no panic in that locker room. We have a quick discussion of what's happening. I always ask, what do they see? That's my first question to those guys, because I want them to tell me. I can easily come and tell them what I see, but I need to hear what they're seeing. And then we go from there. And it's just, the confidence of that group in that locker room. They truly believe, and they are connected on both sides of the ball, that they can find a way to win.
Wait, I'm curious, what did y'all talk about at halftime, especially on the defensive end, to kind of shore things up and make sure that that third quarter was as productive as it was?
We obviously went over some of our lapses, went over our scout. There's certain things that we had a emphasis on pregame in our prep that we didn't do a great job in the first half. So we tried to bring those things up, shore those up, and come out with more energy in the second half.
What were those things?
Directions guys like to go, the ways we're going to deal with pick and roll, how we had the low man available. They obviously have bigs that can shoot, so being aware of where they are and adjusting to different situations that they're in versus other guys that are going to be rolling. So, there was a bunch of stuff.
I remember early in the season seeing you really cheering hard for Moses Brown when he was with you guys. How did it feel to see him tonight, and especially to watch him be productive with our team?
No, it's great. Obviously, when you're out there in between the lines, you're kind of competing. You don't really see faces, but super happy for him that he's found a place to compete. And I know he's a very hard worker, and it shows. And they're using him in the way that he's been being effective, and I think he's going to continue to grow in that role. So definitely happy for him.
Dwight, does it ever get old watching Luka erupt like that?
No, simply.
Take me through that third quarter. Offensively and defensively, it seemed like you guys just really hit your stride. What did you guys focus on coming out of halftime, and what were you feeling personally?
Coach just told us to, we got to start guarding better, helping each other, because, they was getting too many layups and offensive rebounds. So, I felt like we were scoring. We was already scoring the ball. We just need to get some stops, and I feel like we got enough stops.
And for you on offense, do you
Appreciate you.
how do you feel like in a third quarter like that, where you're hitting threes from all over the place, and especially you and Luka combined are just really doing damage? Like, do you recognize in the moment how effective you guys are being, or is it?
No, you just kind of in the moment. You ain't really think about anything, but shout out to Luka, man. He kept finding me, and everybody kept yelling at me to shoot it. The first half, I turned down one in the corner, and they was on me. So, it'd be like that sometimes. Other night was Reggie night. Tonight it was my night. They got to make a decision. Like I said, they got to pick who they going. If they're gonna trap, who they gonna leave, either me or Reggie.
Jason was in here and said that staff doesn't really talk to you guys about playoff standing necessarily, but you guys winning tonight and Minnesota, I think, is losing right now. That would clinch you guys a top 6 seed. Do you pay attention to that at all? Are you guys aware of that as you're coming into the game, that you guys can lock things down earlier than last season?
We try not to pay attention to it, but we human. Everybody peeking at it. But we also know we just want to finish the season playing the right way. Whoever we got, we're gonna be ready to play.
Ready to see KP on Friday?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We got to see my guy Moses today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reunion all week.
All right. Anything else in the room? We'll go into Zoom. Eddie Sefko.
Hey, Dorian, you were talking a little bit there about the playoffs, but you've been on teams that have made it and teams that haven't made it.
Yeah, woo.
Just how special and how much do you not want to take for granted just exactly what you guys are doing? You're on the cusp of, or you're in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So, just kind of the feeling of the vibe, if you will, about what's going on with you guys.
I would say it's just we right now we're just trying to finish the season strong. We try not to talk much about the standings, because you never know who we're gonna play. The way it's looking right now, you just don't know. But like you said, I have been on teams where we'll be tanking right now, and that ain't a good feeling. That ain't a good feeling. But I'm just trying to stay in the moment and appreciate everything. Try to go out there with pure intentions and play the game I love.
Okay, we'll go to Dwayne Price.
Dorian, what did you see from Luka there in the third quarter when he scored those 20 points?
You know, that's what he do. You know, I feel like they was trapping him. They was trapping him first half, and he made all the right passes and reads. And you know, when they stopped trapping him, he got to do what he do.
English before you get your Spanish quota. What did it feel like to play? And I know you've played here in front of the Slovenian crowd before, but just to put on a show and to be able to kind of have that backing behind you.
I mean, it's always a pleasure. I know a lot of Slovenians live here. You know, I think it's the Ohio is a state that the most Slovenians live in the USA. So it's always a pleasure. I saw a lot of Slovenians out there, and it's always amazing to see their support.
Does it become anything extra that you want to like make sure that you go out there and put on, or anything like that, where you know you've got this extra tension?
I mean, no. I mean, the tension. I think there's always a tension, but always, when home people are here to see you, obviously you want to put on a show for them. So I think a little bit extra it is for sure.
I noticed you got to meet with Joey and his family again. Tell me more about that connection and how you guys have been able to kind of have these meetups each time you're in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, since day one, he went through something that I don't wish nobody to go through. But he's been battling it. He's okay now. The journey he did was amazing, and just believe in yourself, even if you're in very tough situations. And he believed, and here he is now.
And your dunk in the third quarter, that was very impressive. Is that like the fruit smoothie on the second night of back to back? Have you ever done that on the second night of back to back?
I think it was 1-0.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's fair.
Okay, we got a couple on Zoom. Dwayne Price. Dwayne.
He's old school.
We'll go to Eddie and come back to Dwayne.
Not really basketball related, Luka, but are you a baseball fan or a Texas Rangers fan now?
Yeah, I'm a Texas Rangers fan. Thanks to DK. I hope you guys know who's DK. I think he's the most important guy in our organization.
You're calling on me, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now, Dwayne. He's back on mute though. So, all right, we're gonna go with Christos.
And look at the game you're doing. At this stage of the season and the way that you play, how confident you feel about the playoffs, about your progress and the effort that you brought on both ends?
I mean, obviously this year we've been way better defensively, but once the playoff come, I have all the confidence. No matter who we get, hopefully we get the home court advantage, and just with all the confidence, play every game and just try to win.
Okay, last one in Spanish, Leonardo.
Luca, te saluda Leonardo Torres de Perú. Felicidades por la victoria. Luca, hoy 28 asistencias como equipo, ayer 27 asistencias como equipo. ¿Por qué crees que están moviendo tan bien el balón en ataque?
Creo que muchas veces es porque muchas jugadas quieren doblar y nosotros pues compartimos el balón muy bien. Creo que lo estamos haciendo mejor y mejor, como has dicho, estos dos partidos, y eso tenemos que hacer cada día.
What do you think Dwayne figured out? Dwayne?
No.
Speaking of putting on the show, what did you see there in the third quarter when you went off for 20 points?
I had 20? Okay.
It's your 13 big four.
I don't know. I just tried to be a little bit. I just
We got you.
I just try to be a little bit more aggressive in the first half. Obviously it's a back-to-back, but I just try to be more aggressive.